Welcome to Dear Book Coach. I'm Carrie Savage, writer, project manager, and certified book coach.
I'm Stephanie Detlefs, writer and certified book coach.
I'm Terry Thayer, writer, certified book coach, certified focusing professional.
And this is a friendly advice space for you as you plan, draft, and revise your novel. In each video, we answer a question submitted by a writer like you with 3 different points of view, and you get to pick the advice that resonates with you. So today's question is from Jan. I've done a few drafts of my novel and I've had some friends read it. They've all given me positive feedback. Am I ready to pitch? Stephanie.
First of all, Jan, congratulations for getting to this point. It's a big deal. So I hope you're celebrating the fact that you've gotten to this place because it's very hard work. And so I want to honor that. And then I'm going to give you a gentle dose of tough love and say, no, you are not ready to pitch. And I can say that with pretty much 100% certainty, even without having seen your manuscript. And it has nothing to do with your writing ability or anything. First of all, having your loved ones read your writing is absolutely lovely if they are nice about it, but they aren't going to look at it with the critical, objective eye that you need, right? They care about you. They want you to feel good. And they also aren't going to give you the organized, specific feedback that you need in order to make the next revision the best it can be. I would highly recommend hiring a book coach for ongoing revision work. If that isn't what you want, then at the very least, hire a developmental editor to do a one-time manuscript read and give you an evaluation. And that evaluation will give you the big things that you still need to work on. The truth is that after a while, we as writers no longer have fresh eyes for our own work, and we don't have an objective perspective anymore. We know what we meant to put on the page, and so then when we read it, we see what is in our head. We don't see what's just on the page. You need to work on a manuscript and polish it within an inch of its life, and basically to the point where you can't even stand it anymore, and then have professional eyes on it telling you whether or not it's ready. After you've had a manuscript review of some sort and you feel like now there's nothing else to do, I would look for beta readers, which are people who have specific roles to play in how they read your work. There's lots of information online about beta readers. And then you'll for sure, before you pitch, want to hire somebody to do copy editing, line edits, polishing it at the word and sentence level. And the last thing that you'll want to do before you ever consider pitching is making sure that your first 10 to 50 pages are packing a really big punch, because that's what agents are going to see first, because most of them ask you to send 10, 20, sometimes more pages just to see what your writing style and what the story is like. If they're not super excited about it within the first couple of pages, they're going to say no. So those initial pages are really important too. So there's still a lot to do. I wish I had better news for you, but that is my opinion on the matter. Terry?
Yeah, yes. I too want to add my congratulations, because most writers don't really get to a couple of drafts. And so you're in the kind of a rarefied group. So pat yourself on the back about that. And I think one thing to say is that writers, and this might be a dirty little secret, but it's not unusual to do 7, 8, 9, 10 drafts. So even though you've already done a lot of work, like Stephanie said, there's always more work to be done. And right now we're in a market that we're being told by agents that work has to be just perfect to be even to get on, past an agent's eyes, because there's so many submissions right now. And so you have to present, and you only get that shot once. And so you have to be sure to get the best possible book out that you can. If you can't hire a book coach or you can't hire a developmental editor at this time, I'm wondering, are you able to get into a critique group? Now, critique groups, they can be good, they can be awful. So you kind of have to shop yourself around a little bit. But what Stephanie was saying about you not being able to really determine what's on the page, I found that to be really true when I first started writing and I got into a critique group where I thought things were obvious and they really were not. So especially if you've been writing alone and you know the whole story, you know what's going on, but it's sometimes we don't get it on the page in the best way possible. So a critique group, a good bunch of writers can be really really helpful. One thing that's really great about a critique group too, that as you critique other people's work, you can find the flaws in your work before you write them. So that it's sort of a two-way street. You might want to make sure that they are familiar with whatever genre you're writing, because every genre has its tropes and expectations, and it's really helpful if you have a group that knows that. But this is a long process, and yes, and it has to be the best book you can do. So you have to do whatever, all of those things that Stephanie said, maybe find a critique group, all the other things as well. Carrie.
So yeah, I'm going to say the same things. You're probably not ready to pitch. Sorry. You're almost definitely not ready to pitch. And I think, we hear this talking amongst ourselves. We've all experienced it with some of our clients of having to be that person who tells a writer who comes to you and thinks like, I'm at that point. And you're just, oh, no, I'm sorry. You're not quite there. And it doesn't mean that there isn't the potential there in the book. There absolutely is. But you, as both Terry and Stephanie said, you only get one shot at putting a book, generally speaking, putting a book in front of an agent's eyes. So if that book is not the absolute best thing that you can make it, why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting their time? You want to put the thing in front of them that is going to knock their socks off, because that's how you're going to get a deal. If you're putting together or you're sending them something that isn't as polished as it can be, they, read one page of the manuscript if you're lucky and go, and set it down and never think about it again. And that's a person that you can then cross off your list as someone that, you're not gonna, even if you do go back and revise another time, you probably shouldn't be resubmitting to that person because they probably won't give you any attention. So don't leave this thing to chance. Make it as polished. Like, think of it in a way as like, if you're an author, this is your resume, right? In a way, this is sort of you're putting your professional work forward and saying, please, like, hire me. So don't leave it to chance. Don't leave it to your friends. I would say, even if they're, or your critique group, even if they're successful authors themselves, they certainly have probably a better idea of what agents and publishing professionals are looking for, but they could also suffer from the same things that you as the writer do. They may have seen this thing umpteen times and just have a certain amount of blindness. So they can get you to a certain point, definitely. But you want a fresh set of eyes, at least one, preferably more. So I'm going to echo again what Stephanie and Terry have said: hire beta readers, hire a book coach. And at the very first times that you're going through this process, don't worry about the copy edits. Make sure it's clear that you want someone that you're giving money to you want them to review your top and mid-level story issues. So you want them looking at character arcs, plot holes, world building, all of the sort of big things that someone reading with a critical eye, including an agent, will come across a problem and just put the manuscript down. And that's the last thing you want, of course. We've said it already, I'm repeating a lot here, but agents now are seeing up to 200 unsolicited manuscripts every week. So you have to stand out, and you have to stand out in a good way, not in a bad, weird, disturbing way. So put every effort that you possibly can into your book before you're sending it out there. And that's exactly what we as book coaches are here to help you do, because if that is your goal, to get an agent and ultimately get a traditional publishing deal, it's something that we're trained to know what to look for and to help you get your book to that state where it is the best book that it can be, and is ready to put out towards the professionals. So.
Yeah, I think it takes a village, right? I mean, we have this misconception of writing a book is that it happens in your small little room in your house, and then it goes out into the world, right? But there's so much that has to happen in between, both in the publishing process and before it ever gets there, that involve other people. So if you're feeling shy or uncomfortable or nervous about putting it out there, hire somebody, because that's what they're there for, and it is an investment. It's a financial investment and an emotional one, but it's a financial investment that a lot of us kind of balk at, like, oh, I don't need that, I'll just have friends read it. But the type of feedback, the type of structured next steps that you're given are worth every penny. So whether it's a book coach or an editor, just know that. And start to wrap your mind around it a little bit. So, and good luck to you, because we know you'll get there. And that's it for today. So we hope you found an answer that makes sense to you at this point in your life and at this point in your book. Remember, you can submit your questions to us anytime at dearbookcoach.com. And while you're there, subscribe to our weekly email, because each week we randomly choose a subscriber to win a call with the coach of their choice. And we'll see you next time. Bye.